What's good, y'all? Today I'm gonna be showing y'all how to texturize hair and how to completely fulfill your burst fade desires all in one video. But without further ado, man, let's just hop into the video and let's lock in.
Please stop acting fake if you don't want me in your presence. I know what I'm worth cause she's a Saturday.
So obviously the first thing we're doing is combing out the hair, making sure everything is nice and lifted up off the scalp so we could basically preparation for what we're about to do for the haircut. And now we're just slightly just damping the hair, well, really wetting the hair. We ain't gonna wet it too much to where the client is drenched in water and whatnot, but we're just slowly getting all the hairs wet and then combing it. Combing it really reveals what's wet and what's not. You can kind of see his hair is kind of not all the way wet, but we don't need it all the way wet. We just need that, wet enough for all the front sections just to, kind of cooperate with us, as you can see right now. So with texturizing, all it is I'm taking a razor comb and I'm basically cutting the hairs that I just do not want. The razor comb helps it uneven. Basically, if you was to cut it with shears is more so of a difficult way to cutting it, I want to say, and texturizing it, and it's a longer process. With a texturizing comb or texturizing razor, you don't really have to sit there and section all the time and do all that crazy stuff, because texturized top, that messy look that everybody wants, is just all uneven hair, or somewhat even but uneven hair. And then we just took sections and worked our way to the back, and now we're just blow drying the hair on I would say medium heat, and we are using a high I guess airflow, if you want to call them. And as you can see, the texture is there from us cutting the hair down. We just want to get it dry, because I don't like to cut. Most people do like to cut the hair while it's wet, but I like to make sure my client is fully dry, or the hair is fully dry, before we start any process of clipper to skin, clipper to hair type action. So it's just more massaging the hair, getting it all nice and dry. And then now we're sitting at first bald guideline. That first bald guideline is the first foundation to the fade that we're going to be setting in. And since we're doing a burst fade, I've always seen a burst fade with a C cup. So to make sure we have that C cup, you want to make sure you bring that line, that first bald guideline down, so you can have room to add that C cup. And you do want to start in a rounded shape, because it is a burst fade. Any type of thing with burst in it is a rounded effect, or it's coming from a rounded foundation, I would say, or a rounded guideline. And you want to feed from off that first guideline. No matter what haircut you're doing, you always want to feed off that first guideline. That first guideline is the foundation for the whole entire haircut. And if you follow that transition and make all your guidelines from that first guideline in the shape of the first guideline, then you should be good. Now what we're about to do here is debulk with the number 2 guard all the way open. And that is all the way open with the lever all the way down. Lever all the way open leaves the most hair on top of the person's head, versus the lever all the way closed with the same guard. You can have the same guard on your client's head, but if you do it all the way closed, it's going to leave less hair than all the way open. And we're slightly doing a flick out motion, as you can see right here, because we do want to keep most of the weight at the top of his hair. We just don't want to go straight up. We want to burst fade, and we do want to keep the weight on the sides. And for us to keep weight is all that meaning is that most of the hair is still on the sides of his head. That's all the weight that weight is used for, I would say. If you didn't want weight on top of your on the side of your client's head, you would just go straight up. Not pressing down on the client's skin, but just going straight up. But we did use a flick out motion just to create our weight. And right here we're adding our second guideline. The second guideline is with our lever all the way open. Lever all the way open, and keep in mind that we are following that first bald guideline that we set in. See how it didn't set in a straight line with our second guideline? We set it in a rounded, bursted shape, just so we can keep that burst fade effect, because this is a burst fade. And now we're just doing my down fading process from here. We're just fading down, slowly closing the lever and working our way to that first guideline that we had set in. We started at the top with the lever all the way open with our second guideline. We're still in the second guideline's area, and we're slowly closing the lever, slowly. Now this is a clipper that does have a 5-lever click lever system. Some clippers do, some clippers don't. You have to recognize what type of tool that you're working with and work from there. If you're not working with a click lever system, you can just slowly close your lever and work your way down. But I would say for more so beginner barbers, a click lever system is good for beginners. So we're starting with our lever all the way open, and we're back at that number 2 guard. And then we're going to keep slowly closing the lever, working our way down. Now keep in mind right here, the top, since we start off with a number 2 guard, that's the highest guard. We debulked with the 2 guard, so this is the highest guard that we're going to use when it comes to fading our climb. Now this is straight hair isn't as hard as y'all think it would be. Right now we're working with a wall guard, so there is a 2, a 1.5, a 1.5 guard, and then we're at the lever all the way open, which we had already faded out, and we're working our way all the way down to that half guard, all the way open to all the way closed ratio from this number 2 guard. But since we're dealing with straight hair, the fun thing about straight hair is that anything you can use, basically any guard you want to debulk and start fading down from. I used to fade down with a number 3 guard, but the number, see, we're at our number, we're at a 1.5 guard right now. This is the guard underneath the 2 guard and above the number 1 guard. And we're starting off with the lever all the way open, and we're going to end with this guard with the lever all the way closed. But we're not going to go from all the way open to all the way closed. We're going to slowly make that transition, because that's what a fade is. It's a nice gradual transition all the way from the top of the head all the way to skin. And you want to make that transition as clean as possible. So you want to make sure you use all your notches, all your levers, so you don't have to go back in and refade the hair and whatnot. But back to what I was saying, you could start off with a hat with the 1.5 guard that we're using right now to debulk everything. I wouldn't necessarily say start off with a 1 guard, but you can. So with straight hair, basically all of this weight up top, I know we debulked, but that's not the finished product. Whenever you're dealing with straight hair, if you're leaving weight on the sides, or even going straight up and going for a boxier look, you want to use your shears. Shears is a sweet point when it comes to fading straight hair, because shears really take that weight and really bring out the transition coming from the blend on the sides of the person's head all the way to the top where the hair resides, or where the most hair resides at. That's really the only thing. And we'll make sure you use your corners as we're using right now just for detailing. I would say straight hair is somewhat similar to coarse hair. The only thing is, whenever you get to the 1.5 area, that's when you have to start hovering over the hair, if that makes any sense. You're not more so pressing down on the skin, you're basically hovering over the head. That's the best way I can put it in my perspective on how I fade out straight hair. But you're basically not touching the skin anymore, not rubbing the guards on the skin. You're hovering over the hair, basically just going kind of like a slight flicking out motion, if you would say. But now we're working with our number 1 guard and just working our way down. As you can see, that blend is becoming a very, very, very beautiful blend, as y'all can see. And now we're at our half guard. Your half guard is the smallest guard, the guard underneath the 1 guard. And I can tell y'all, with this fading technique, you always start, every time you start off with a new guard, you always leave the lever, or always start with the lever open and then work your way to close. Now we're about to shear everything in. We do have 2 different types of shears. We have a thinning shear and we have our texturizing shears. Right here, we're just going to use our texturizing shears, and we're just knocking or hitting that weight line that we see right there. Basically blending the blend that we use for our clippers into the rest of the hair. And it should knock off all that weight. It really depends on what type of shear that you have. You want to make sure you have a nice, decent, shear, just so it could cut fluidly. I used to have a pair of shears, and it used to take me forever, bro, just to cut into the hair. But as I got more money and as business grew, I got the it just takes time, bro. Everything just doesn't come overnight. It just takes time. I got the money so I can buy some decent pair of shears. I will get some more shears. Shears are very, very expensive. More so not the ones that I'm using. The ones that I'm using are about, I want to say, $200 for 1 shear, or $200 for 2 shears. I'm really not sure. But right here, we're going in, making that C cup. We did add that little indent where the C cup will start, and then we started at the bottom of the C cup and then worked our way up. Straight hair is a little bit different when creating the C cup because the hair is thick right there, so it's harder to kind of, get out. And our client is having a V at the back on for the neckline up. And all you want to do is start where you think the middle is and work your way to one side. Look how beautiful that this burst fade came out. It's a very nice, well put together burst fade. You can see the texture in the back is flowing, is doing what we needed to do. And you want to make sure you brush the hair down and then reline the line up, because that is a lot of hair. I do like to keep my client's hair thick in the back. And to do the other side, you want to start off on that middle part that you had just set in and just work your way over. It's just as simple as that. And then flip your clippers over and then remove the excess hair. Whenever you're on a neckline up, you don't want to use your clippers, face the other way like if you was lining somebody up. The neck is a very, very sensitive area. We're only using it to line the person up like how we're doing right now. But if you want to remove hair underneath the neck, going lower towards the back area, that part is a little bit more sensitive, so you do want to use your clipper just like this, how it is in the video. And yeah, now we're about to, as you can see, I'm just I put some powder in his hair. It's really about texturizing, how you texturize it and how you style it at the same exact time. But we're just styling it, man. This is the haircut right here, man. I hope y'all liked the video. I hope y'all enjoyed everything. But it's HYB. If you're not handling business and what you doing, and we out.
I don't need your love if you ain't with it. Please stop acting fake if you don't want me in your presence. I know what I'm worth cause Jesus said it. You said you needed me just cause you needed love. I told you I ain't for free just cause you ain't enough. I know that you ain't for me. You know that I'm with the king. Don't give it up.
Benny, please don't do anything crazy.